Hi, I'm Ron Lewis from Uper75 Golf Channel on YouTube. Um, Usually I do uh, golf videos here in the yard or on the golf course playing 9-hole rounds. But today I'm doing something different. Today I'm doing a video about an episode I had on um, trout stream. I started trout stream. I started playing. I started fishing trout when I was about 16 years old. When I got my driver's license at 16 is basically what started my trout fishing career, because I used to go out and fish trout by myself, mostly by myself. And I had some harrowing episodes on the trout stream with bears and hornets and things like that. I never. We're talking, I started trout fishing back in 1965. And actually, I lived the first 17 years of my life in Paradise, Michigan. This is Paradise, Michigan right here. It's on the northeastern end of the Upper Peninsula. This is Lake Superior up here, and this is Whitefish Bay here, and there's Sault Ste. Marie over here, and Sault, Ontario, Canada is up here, and the Tequamanon River runs through here and comes out at the bay. So this is Whitefish Point up here. Up here above, northwest of Whitefish Point, is where the Edmund Fitzgerald sunk, and I'm not sure of the year. The 1975 rings a bell with me, but it was, I do believe it was in the 1970s that the Edmund Fitzgerald sunk. They were being them and another freighter were up here in a bad storm, and they were hugging. There was an island up here, and they were up actually in Canadian waters, and they were hugging this island up here, and they were heading for Whitefish Bay to get out of the storm, because once you get in Whitefish Bay, the weather gets so very much milder, and in less milder weather. So they were heading across here, and the Edmund Fitzgerald didn't make it. The other freighter made it. The Edmund Fitzgerald sunk up in here somewhere and didn't make it to the bay. But anyway, I was raised here in Paradise, Michigan, on Whitefish Bay of Lake Superior. I was raised there for the first 17 years of my life, and when I turned 16 and got my driver's license, I started getting into trout fishing, and I would go out mostly by myself. Once in a while, I'd take somebody with me. But this is about one day when I went out. I was out. I decided to go try to fish part of Sheeny Creek, which is about 7 or 7.5 miles west of Paradise, and I decided to cut cross country. I was gonna. There's a road goes in here about 2 or 3 miles before you get to Sheeny Creek. There's a road goes in here. It's Preacher Lake road, which goes south off of M123 is the main highway up here, and you take M123 out, and this is the Preacher Lake Road south is about 5 miles out from Paradise, and then I drove in here and parked, and I was going to cut across country to Sheeny Creek, which I figure was somewhere between 2 and 3 miles to Sheeny Creek. Sheeny Creek runs across the highway, and it empties into Tequamanon River down here. So I was going to cut across here and see if I can hit Sheeny Creek down below the highway somewhere, and fish it down to the mouth of or fish it down to the Tequamanon River. And so that was the plan. Anyway, that was the plan. And so I went out there, and I drove down. I took a left and went down Preacher's Lake Road, and I parked the car off the road, and I started walking to the west. To the west this way. The X marks the spot of where I hadn't walked very far at all, and it wasn't really heavy woods. It was like you find around a normal trout stream, and the stream I come upon was a creek, actually, a small creek, and it's a creek I run into that, as far as I know, it had no name. The creek had no name, and when I got to the creek, I noticed there was unlike trout streams where you got you're loaded with tag aulers all around you. This creek was not. This creek was it was mostly like 20-30 foot high evergreens, you know, like hemlock or pines and stuff like that. And it wasn't really heavy vegetation, wasn't really heavy tag aulers or anything like that. And also, when I got to this little creek, all of a sudden I heard a bear growl, and then I saw 2 cubs shoot up a tree, but I couldn't see the mother bear. She was growling, but she was hidden behind some trees, and I couldn't see her at all. And this obviously scared the heck out of me, and so I stopped immediately when I heard her growl, and I decided the only option I had was to stop. I stopped and stood still for about 10 or 15 minutes, and then I decided I was going to slowly walk backwards. I was going to walk backwards as far as I could walk. And so I probably walked backwards about a half hour, as slow as I could walk. And then that seemed to work, because the mother bear was not around and the cubs weren't around. And so they decided to leave me alone. Luckily for me, they decided to leave me alone. And so I hadn't gotten anywhere near Sheeny Creek, my goal. I was on the wrong side of it. I was over here, and Sheeny Creek was way to the west of me, so I never did make it to my desired fishing spot. And I decided that was the end of my day right there. So I walked backwards for at least a half hour, and I turned around and slowly walked back to my car, and I got the heck out of there. And that was the I think I've had a lot of episodes with bears on the trout stream, but this one was one of the most dangerous ones I've ever been in, situations I've ever been in. I've had many episodes with bears, and but they didn't. They kind of stayed away from me. But this episode here, when you run into a mother bear and her cubs, it's a highly dangerous situation, especially when the cubs are scared enough to go up a tree. And so this actually ruined my day, and but I was thankful that I was left alone by the mother bear. She didn't bother me. She growled a few times, and that was it. And I deserted my my plan right then and there. I said, I'm not going in there anymore. So I never did go back, and that was the end of my day. And obviously I never got any fishing in. I was too upset to go any place else and fish. That just rattled me really bad that day, and I just decided it wasn't worth it. So I went home. But this is just one of the episodes I've had on the trout stream, and I don't even know how old I was when the year and the day this happened. I don't even remember how old I was. I was probably in my early 30s. I'm not sure when this happened, and so I was just thankful that I got out of it safe and alive. So that's my story, and I hope you keep this in mind when you go trout fishing in northern Michigan. There's a lot of bears out there, and now there's a lot of timber wolves and moose out there now. And since the 80s, they planted a lot of timber wolf and a lot of moose, and there's wolverines out there, and there's hornets' nests and wasp nests you can step in, and so there's a lot of harrowing experiences possible when you go trout fishing in northern Michigan now. So, but this is just a word of warning about fishing in Michigan, and so I hope you take it into account. So thanks for watching my video, and I'll see you later. Bye. Thank you.